Good afternoon, everybody. Jared here with Day Traders FX. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. Let's have a look at these markets and get right down to it. Number one, we have a pretty flat day in Dow and S&P, basically closing with nothing exciting, a little bit down on the Dow. Gold's down a little bit, and oil continues to move basically in a very tight channel, not making any really significant movements there. Keep in mind we have some Japanese news, the Bank of Japan press conference, all of that stuff. These tend to be pretty uneventful except for when they intervene, and there's not much intervention needed at this point because of the absolute weakness of the yen, but there could be some strength surprisers in here, so just keep an eye on that. I'm not going to do anything with the yen pairs for at least today, but just if you are in any yen trades, keep an eye on that. Watch that closely. Coming into tomorrow, little Valentine's Day trading. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone, by the way. Nothing too exciting as far as announcements go. Unemployment claims and unemployment claims for the U.S., retail sales for New Zealand. Let's get right down to it. Euro dollar made a nice little run. We can see it turned around perfectly on that WR1. And we talked about in the notes yesterday trading at and against 134.30. And you can see once those notes were posted back in here, we had a low there about 134.37. So it came within 7 pips of the actual 30 level. So great little level to trade against. Took off and rallied up very nicely, 80 pips right into WR1. Perfect little move, nice little breakout here, just a great move. But now we've got this big bearish engulfing candle, and we're trying to see where this thing might go. We could end up with a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern. I'm going to watch this thing and see where it goes here. Two things that I'm looking for. In the chat, we talked a little bit about getting in on a slightly lower dip than 134.30. So this was the entry from yesterday, looking for 134.30. Played out very nicely. For today, we might just see a break of 134.30. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we did, especially if this little head and shoulders pattern pans out, which it looks like it just might do. A little more bouncing around here, a break of that 134.30. But at that point, I'd be very interested in buying at and against 133.50. Now below 133.50, I think we could start to see a bit of a medium-term trend change, and so that's where we got to keep an eye on that, because below 133.50, next target's probably 132.60, and then it goes down to 131. 100 area and so on. So what I'm looking for is just to kind of watch this area right here. If we do get a break of this 134.30, this could be a great opportunity to short down into some of these lower areas, down into or just below 13400, into even 133.70, 80, and ultimately I'll be looking to trade enter against 133.50. So that's what we're looking at. If for some crazy reason this thing just takes off and rallies and doesn't even touch 134.30 once again, which is also a possibility, keep an eye on some of these shorter time frames here and just look for some of these little breakouts. We've got we've got these little levels right here that might be worth keeping an eye on, and so just watch those, just see where those go. If we get a break above, like this 5-minute 200-day moving average, this little trend line, that could be on the rally. But I have a feeling that we might just get one little break below 134.30 and give us a chance to get long against that 133.50 with a target of at least 136.00. So I think we've got a couple hundred pips in there for sure. Our pound dollar yesterday was shorting at about 157.00. We're aiming for an entry at this missed daily pivot and at the 50% fib from this run right here. And guess what? We had a high of 156.88. Ugh. It missed my entry anyways by about 12 pips, which was a son of a gun, because then it just dropped 150 pips, no problem. The pound dollar now is in an interesting area where I think we have to wait just a little bit before doing much with this. It's breaking lows and it's getting beyond this weekly trend line right here. We're going to encounter some pretty significant support down at 152, 60, 70 area, but that's a little ways to go. We've broken this reversal candle very nicely, and it's just cruising right on down very, very well. What I think we need to see happen is some retracement, and my area of entry will probably be a little ways up here, like about 100 pips up here. I think we need to get a little bit closer to 156, 20, 30 before I start jumping into this thing again. So I'd like to see a little reversal here. We had a nice reversal candle right here. It ran up and it's kind of tested that low. It hasn't really broken it. It's pushed 3 or 4 pips below a few times, but it hasn't really broken it. So we'll see if that holds. If that gives us some retracement closer into that 15600, 156 kind of 20-ish area, then I'll be looking to short against that. So let's be looking for opportunities there, but I'm not really into anything just yet on that pair. Aussie dollar, yesterday our details were enter short at about 103.50. You can see that right there. It ran down about 30 pips, and here it is running right back up again. And so the Aussie dollar is on a bit of a move. I'm still interested in shorting at about 103.80, but I'm going to keep a really close eye on this because it kind of seems to be on an interestingly weird move. It's running up, and I'm going to be just kind of curious if it holds that 103.80. This is the big area that we had a real hard time getting below on the daily chart, the 200-day moving average. We made a nice run below, and this thing just tanked, well, I mean, not horrifically, but about 150 pips fairly quickly, and now it's coming right back up to that. So 103.80 area is going to be what I'm aiming for. Then I'm going to have my stops somewhere up above this little high point right here, which is probably around 105.50. So I think we're going to have 70, 80 pip stops on a run like this, 60, 70 pip stops depending. But 103.80 will be my initial target area to get in to this trade and into this move. Now we have a huge bullish engulfing candle right here. The Aussie has really reversed like crazy in the last 2 days. But I'm going to see if that runs out of a little bit of steam around that 103.80, 10400 area. So that's what I'm looking for right there. Remember to keep an eye on the short-term stuff, 15-minute chart. Just kind of watch this activity because it could very likely start an earlier fail than not. And so we're going to want to just keep an eye on all of that and look for those moves. So be ready for a break and be ready for everything there because I am looking once again to get short on that Aussie dollar. If the euro can hold and make a nice little run and the Aussie can stay below this and continue back down, then that makes the Euro Aussie our very best friend. This is a great little level right here. This is about 129.40, which is the low of Friday. Remember our Friday lows. We love those levels. So it's actually a little tiny bit lower. That one's right there about 129.31, give or take. This could be a very, very good area to trade against at the moment. So this little dip down, we had a big reversal candle. This thing just started coming down real nice. And so if we get a dip down and test this level, 129, even 129.50-ish, I'm probably going to be getting into the Euro Aussie long and trading it up into those highs. You can see here that we've got two crucial levels. Friday low, which is around that 129.30, and then we have the weekly low of last week, which is around 129.00. So I'm looking at both of those. And on this one, I need to update this little guy right here. But remember, we're always looking at the 200-day moving average, and you can see that we do have a little bit of space left on this, which is, a little tiny bit of a concern. So as we get into that 129.30 potentially and 129.00, let's just be careful because we could be kind of slowly making a bit of a break into even 128.50 to kind of test that 200-day moving average. So just keep an eye on that. We're just looking at that. We're making sure we don't get ourselves into some trouble there, but I'm definitely looking at buying against some of these levels as we get there. Those are all the pairs I'm looking at right now. My advice, again, would be stay away from these yen pairs. They're just a mess and a choppy disaster. They have some great movements, but they're getting really choppy and really volatile. So stay away from those guys. We have some really nice setups. Euro dollar is really close. Pound dollar needs a bit of retracement. Aussie dollar needs to confirm that high, and we're in business. The rest of them look fantastic, and I think we'll have some great trades coming up and some good profits. So best of luck, guys, and I will see you in the chat.